Hey there, this is Tony. I am lecturing from these two sources, the Go Math here, regular seventh grade, and the seventh grade accelerated. Same pages, same content. If you need a copy of this book, you can click a link in the description. All right, let's get started. Samuel walks forward 19 steps. He represents this movement with a positive 19. How would he represent the opposite of this number? Well, that's pretty easy. Let me zoom out a little bit so I can get more problems here. So that would just be negative 19. Okay. Julia spends $2.25 for her lawnmower. She earns $15 mowing her neighbor's lawn. What is the profit? Well, the profit is the difference between what you spend and uh, what you've earned. So earning $15 and subtracting $2.25. That's a really cheap. Oh, on gas. I see, on gas. And so maybe calculator, what, 13, 12. What's $12.75, I believe. And I'm checking my answer always. Okay, so that all looks good. Let's see what else we got here. A submarine submerged to a depth of negative 35.25 meters, dives an additional 8.5 meters. What's the new depth? That looks like it's going to be negative 35.25, and then you have to subtract 8.5, or you have to add a negative 8.5 because it dives further down. And then that equals, you end up just adding them together. That's going to be 0.75. And then 8 and 35, that's 43, I believe. So it's 43, negative 43.75 meters. And on this next one, Renee hiked 4 3/4 miles. After resting, Renee hiked back along the same route for 3 1/4 miles. How many more miles does Renee need to hike to return to the place where she started? It looks like you got to subtract those. So 4 3/4 minus 3 1/4. Same denominator. Oh, this is going to be easy. You can just do 3 minus 1 is 2 fourths. And the whole numbers, 4 minus 3 is 1. And 1 2/4 simplifies to 1 1/2. So there you go. Miles. M for miles. For geography here, the average elevation of the city of New Orleans, Louisiana, is zero point 0.5 meters below sea level. The highest point in Louisiana is Driscoll Mountain, which is about 163.5 meters higher than New Orleans. How high is Driscoll Mountain? Well, that's not so bad. What we have is 100. Oops. 163.5 minus 0.5, which is equal to 163 meters. M for meters. Oh boy. Meters. There you go. Okay, let's get going with this here. A contestant on a game show has 30 points. She answered the question correctly to win 15 points. Then she answered a question incorrectly and lost 25 points. So we have 30 points and she got one correct. So you add 15 and then you subtract 25. So let's see. 30 plus 15 is 45 minus 25, and that would be 20 points. Final score. All right, this financial literacy here, you have this table here of income and expenses. So in which months were the expenses greater than the income? So which months? Expenses greater than the income. Okay. Name the month and find how much money was lost. Well, let's see. We are looking at 1205 income, 05, 1290 expenses. So January. So January, you got 1290.6. So 1290.6 minus 1205, which is that's $85.60. $85.60. And then I think February too. Yeah, 1345 minus 11 83. So for February, I'll put it in blue. February is 1345.44 minus 1183, which is equal to 162.44. Okay, so those are the 2 months. Now March, they were equal. Income's more than the expenses. Income's more than the expenses. Income's more than the expenses. Okay, we have number 25. I'll zoom in here a little bit. And for number 25, we have in which months was the income greater than the expenses? Okay, name the months and find how much money was gained. Okay, so that means I have to go over here and have that back. Okay, so that's March. March, which is, you got to subtract them, and so that would be 0, right? I think that they would be the same. Oh, it wasn't March. No, it wasn't greater. March doesn't include that, right? That doesn't make sense because that wasn't a gain. But June, yes. If you take the income 2413 minus 2106.63, that is 306.77, and then July, that would be, I mean, you get the idea, right? 2260 minus, well, I'll just write it, 2260 minus 1958.50, and that amount is 301.50, 301.50. And then we have August, which is 2183 minus 1845, oops, 45.12. And that is 337.88, 337.88. And there you go. Those are those 3 values. So the next one is if the bakery started with an extra 250 from the profits in December, okay, describe how to use the information in the table to figure out the profit and loss of money at the bakery by the end of August, then calculate the profit or loss. Oh boy, this is going to be big. I'm going to have to write this out a little bit. All right, so this is my plan. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here and show you that what I would do is I would find the total income by adding them up. So I'd add up all these income numbers and the 250. Then I would find the total expenses by adding up all those here. And then finally I would find the difference between the income and the expenses. I would subtract them. Oh, and that number, let's see, that final number is $948.11. So that is taking, I don't want to do that whole thing. That's a long process, but add all these up plus 250 and add all these up and then subtract them. That's what I would do. Okay, moving on to -2 is the, I would say, the additive inverse of 2 because they're opposites, or you could say opposite. Okay, the basketball coach made up a game to play where each player takes 10 shots to the basket. For each shot basket made, the player gains 10 points. For every missed basket, the player loses 15 points. The player with the highest score sank 7 baskets and missed 3. What was the highest score? Well, that should be 7 times 10 plus probably 3 times -15. And so that's 70 minus 45. And that is, I believe that's 25 points. The player with the lowest score sank 2 baskets, so 2 times 10. and missed 8, so plus 8 times negative 15. So that's 20 plus a negative, or minus, I'll probably just say minus. Minus 8 times 15, I don't know. 2, 4, 6, oh God, I can't think. Is it 120? Yeah, it's 120. So that is negative 100 points. Okay, write an expression using addition to find what the score would be if the singer. Okay, so it would be sank 5 baskets, so it'd be 5 times 10 plus 5 times negative 15. That's what I would do. Okay. Next, explain the different ways it is possible to add two rational numbers and get a negative number. Okay, so I say that if you take the sum of two negative rational numbers, that's going to be negative. The sum of a negative number and a positive number, rational number, I should say, is negative if the absolute value of the negative number is greater than the positive number. I couldn't fit in the word number. So there you go. That's what it comes down to. And then we have this one, explain the error. So a student evaluated negative 4 plus x for x equals negative 9.5 and got the answer 5.5. What might the student have done wrong? It looks like the student subtracted instead of adding. Oops. The student subtracted the numbers instead of adding. Yeah, I would just say that because the correct answer is what? Negative 13.5. Yeah. So can you find the sum of that without performing any additions? Okay. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm looking at this draw conclusions. Can you find the sum of this beast without performing any additions? Yeah, well, I can see here that these are opposites and these are opposites. So, yes. 5.5 and negative 5.5 are opposites. And negative 2.3 and 2.3 are also opposites. The answer is 0. All right, so that's what you got to know. That's the whole deal. All of this section and more to come. So stay tuned.